Have you ever thought about using trading bots? I used Bitsgap in the last bull market and turned $1,000 into $50,000 within a 5-month period. I documented the whole process and put it in a playlist if you want to see that, along with other training videos and tutorials how to set bots up and make the most of the volatility of the crypto market. If you sign up with a link in the description, you'll get a 7 days free trial with no obligation to continue, and you can also use a demo account within Bitsgap so you don't have to risk your own capital. Bitsgap. Hello everybody, welcome back. Who's ready for Altseason 2.0? Well, I imagine most of us are, to be fair with you. We've been umming and ahhing, wondering and wishing that this is going to happen. It still actually hasn't confirmed quite yet, but it's looking more and more likely. There's two main criteria. There's three really, but there's really mostly two things that we're looking at this time. First is the total 2, which is basically all altcoins market cap, excluding Bitcoin, so including Ethereum. And here we go again today, pushing that resistance, just giving it a push and a shove, while all other moving averages are creeping up quite close. So you'll be looking for this to break out and then retest while moving averages reclaim this area. And again, it's nothing special. It's only a modest 40% move, well, just less than that, about 37% move, give or take. That's what we're looking for. It should be plain sailing, to be honest with you, once this area is broken. So you can imagine, let's just say, we break this and then we sail up 40%. We'll just call it 40% on average. The top caps like Ethereum might see 40%. The mid caps might see 80%. The small caps might see several 100%. That's generally the sort of vibe that we're looking for. And it would be, I reckon, at this stage now, like a rotation. So that basically means moving from not just people piling in their actual real life money, into these altcoins, but also rotating their Bitcoin into these altcoins, which is something that we did see around this period on the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is what happened over here. This is a pure rotation, and altcoins, nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted them at all. They were so unpopular, just like they were about 2 months ago when somebody around here was calling for some kind of alt season. It was me. It was me. So yeah, it was the same kind of vibe around here. Nobody wanted altcoins. What are you talking about, man? It's Bitcoin all the way to the moon, man. And then, what's going on? Why are altcoins rallying hundreds of %? Well, it's just it's the nature of it. So at the moment, Bitcoin dominance is not looking like that kind of scenario. That's not the vibe that it's giving off, unfortunately. So it's unlike what was going on over here to an extent. Now I've only got 50 simples and exponentials. I imagine if I put like a 55 exponential in here, we would mark a potential top on this monthly, which might correspond to this level over here, which probably is a 55 exponential moving average. So in that respect, maybe there is something going on here that's similar to last time. I'm not willing to mess around with my charts just to see if that's the case. I like my charts. but yeah, so that could be that we might be looking to see some sort of rejection around here, but I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm more interested in the general market overall, which is total 2 move up 40%, and obviously Ethereum moving up 40% or thereabouts. So Ethereum, again, similar to the total 2, more or less is driving the total 2. There's really not much difference between the two. We had these highs around April, and we've been retesting them recently. So the idea would be that if this breaks, which breaks the April highs and also the January 2022 lows, major resistance took place in a huge, massive move actually. Then you might be looking for something similar to that taking place if we were to break this area. So the first major target, of a massive target, and again this would be like the top targets, we're talking like 3,300, potentially maybe even 3,600. Initially you should really only look for around 2,004 or 500 and see where we go from there, because we don't know, because again there's always two sides to every coin, and the other side would be that the money flow index on the weekly over here is relatively hot, but it's not as hot as Bitcoin, for instance, and this is why I'm thinking a rotation might take place, which would allow for Bitcoin actually to consolidate like it did over here. We had a very big overheated read on the money flow index over here. We consolidated 30% while altcoins rallied, and then we finished with a blow off top there. We might be looking at something like that happening over here. The operative word being might. We've only got one read like this. We've only got one scenario that has happened like that in the past, and it feels a little similar to where we are right now, but it's not identical. So it's speculative. It's worthy of taking note of that, and the fact that that might actually be happening now, but it doesn't mean that it definitely will. It's just an observation that it could be. But with Ethereum looking relatively ready to break out from there, and top targets being relatively epic, and also trading volume on Bitcoin pairs still being relatively small, the word relative being used a lot today, then yeah, the Altseason 2.0, which is, that's what it is. We've already had Altseason Part 1. We've made several 100%. That's been good. But this Altseason 2.0, if it gets confirmed, which is going to be in the form of a Ethereum breakout and a total 2 breakout, probably looking to do the same again, maybe even more, and that will go into what is known as like a parabolic phase. Not a super parabolic phase like in 2021, but similar, more along the lines of a parabolic phase, I would say, similar to maybe this portion of the market. So obviously, Ethereum finding its lows at the bear market, doing some decent runs and rallies, and then finally breaking out from 174 all the way up to 370. So something like that. Not like this, but more like that. So that's what we'll be looking for. Not all-time highs, but significant fast run, and basically still forming a lower high. That's what I'll be looking for. That's what I think is more likely to happen than anything else. Which also means don't get stuck in any kind of altcoin. Don't FOMO into an altcoin. You trade the charts which are most respectable, I suppose, that offer good risk to reward. So obviously FOMOing increases the risk to reward. So I always try and put this across. Everyone knows on the Patreon I always talk about risk to reward. Any trade has to have good risk to reward. If the risk is too high, don't bother. So risk to reward is key. So don't FOMO, and at the moment we are looking to hopefully break the resistance, but until it's broken it acts as a resistance, so expect to get rejected from it. But to be fair, this is now forming, and it has been for a little while, an ascending triangle using this 21 exponential effectively as your support. Again, we're just slicing through it really here just to give you a guide and a time frame. It looks like we're about 65% of the way through, so if we do make a break over the next few days, early next week, it's likely to have continuation. Just like Bitcoin is now broken and closed above that area, and now moving averages are crossing up above that area, it makes it more likely that we're going to continue now. Definitely to around the lower 40s, talking $42,000 to $43,000, with I'd probably say a top target of around about $48,000. And that would probably be absolutely it. That would be so optimistic to expect $48,000, although it's definitely on the cards because the sell walls break around 43, and the next one is really up at 48,000. Yeah, it wouldn't take too much to break that and move up to that top target there. But really, at that stage then, I think we would probably most likely consolidate back down to the lower 30s over a prolonged period of time. And provided we don't suffer any kind of FUD at that consolidation, we should maintain that level around the 31, 32, maybe $33,000. But again, you know what it's like. We start to consolidate, and then somebody says something, then somebody farts in the wrong direction, then somebody does this, and somebody gets caught doing that, and then before you know it, you're back down at the $20,000 zone, which again wouldn't be a problem because it's still okay, but you know the drill. FUD while consolidating is part of the game, so charts can only give you a certain amount. Respected charts should respect their supports, but as you approach those supports, like I say, somebody's going to say or do something, and before you know it, it breaks it, and we go down to the next one. So, and look, a consolidation is way overdue. This chart has been pumping now for a year, so it might not feel like it has, but it definitely has, and we've been having a good time. So good times will come to an end. All parties finish, we have to go to bed and then wake up so we can do the next party. It's been a long time since I've done that, When you have kids and that, there is no parties outside of, soft play. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. There's nothing much more to say. Very optimistic about the way this is looking. Really, it is a matter of Ethereum breaking. We looked on the Patreon last night at so many altcoins, and they were all saying the same thing, which was they're pushing resistance at this very moment in time, major resistance. And if they all break at the same time, then that's it. You'll start to see altcoins go crazy. double-digit gains, maybe, you know, over several weeks, you know, hundreds of percent gains over a couple of weeks is going to be pretty sweet. But right now, they're all pushing that resistance. If they all break together, it'll be undeniable Altseason 2.0. It'll be unstoppable, in fact. And yeah, we'll be looking to get super mega rich quite quickly. But then, obviously, take the profit. Don't hold on for dear life, unless, of course, you bought the absolute lows, which is some of us did do this for the expectation of an entire cycle. That's fine. But if you're looking to trade, be realistic. Take the profit as and when it comes. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.